Good day. Matt here, and this is day 11 of 30 days of intuitive eating, a journey of tuning into and listening to the body's natural wisdom, created by Megan McElroan with intention inspired. And today's intention is I am understanding. So today, let's explore why diets aren't always what they're cracked up to be. So first, let's just dive right in with our host, Megan, as she unpacks this intention for us today.
Hello and welcome back to Intuitive Eating Encouraged. Our lesson today is to uncover why diets aren't working. And so by now, right, you're about a week into Intuitive Eating Encouraged. Hopefully you've been practicing intuitive eating throughout this entire week, listening more to your hunger and fullness, slowing down around meals, and experimenting with what eating for energy looks like for you individually, because everybody's body is different. And so if you've been doing that, I hope that right now you can kind of see a difference between intuitive eating and dieting. And that's what we're talking about today. So, if you're anything like me, you've tried lots of diets, and that might be that you cut out food groups. That might mean that you did extremes like I did. Like I tried this thing called the bean diet where you replace all carbohydrates with beans. I've done the cabbage soup diet where you just make a huge pot of cabbage soup and it literally sits on your stove and you just keep heating it up and you keep eating it all week long, because I guess if you eat cabbage soup for a week, you'll lose weight. Which makes sense because all you're eating is cabbage soup, which has like no calories in it. So yeah, you'll lose weight. You'll also feel deprived and probably hangry and not enjoy what you're eating. And then eventually, once you stop eating cabbage soup, go eat all your favorite foods, fried foods, sugars, and feel kind of crappy because you went a week with just eating cabbage soup, right? And that's just my own personal story around all these diets I tried. I mean, I probably tried over, 15 to 25 diets over the last 6 years, because I was so focused on that weight loss. And instead of listening to my body, which can naturally help me lose weight, which is what we're doing in Intuitive Eating Encouraged, I was constantly trying to figure out how to get that instant gratification weight loss. And so that's why diets aren't working. And scientifically speaking, there's a lot of studies out there that show that something like 75 to 90% of people who do extreme dieting where they cut out food groups or calorie count and like skip meals, more often than not, 75 to 90% of those people gain weight back. And sometimes they gain more weight than when they started the diet, simply because of things like feeling deprived, feeling like they can't possibly do this for a sustainable period of time, and then giving up and going to eat all the foods they cut out of their life and felt like they were off limits. And so it's like these extremes, right? Either you're eating really healthy and working out and doing all these healthy things, or you're like, screw this, I can't sustainably do this. What's the point? I keep having to like not eat the foods I love, and I want to eat the foods I love. And so you're either on these extremes, and there is this happy place right in the middle. And that's what we're trying to get to with intuitive eating, where we let go of all those dieting rules and we begin to embrace the natural signals the body is telling us. And so it's really good to notice these extremes and begin to slow down. And if you start to fall into one of those extremes, try to gently and kindly and compassionately toward yourself remind yourself that it is an extreme and it's not sustainable. And that's the biggest difference between intuitive eating and most diets, right? I'm not going to say diets are bad, right? You might currently follow a diet. Like let's say you follow keto or paleo diets. It's not to say there's something wrong with this diet, right? It's not to say it won't get you weight loss, right? But these diets are asking you to cut down or cut out foods you might really like. And long term, 5, 6, 7 years, 10 years down the line, if you can't see yourself continuing to eat keto, then it's important to learn intuitive eating, because keto might help you get that weight loss, right? So can intuitive eating. Whichever diet you choose, that's your choice. But in the long term, once you lose that weight, what happens? Usually, there is no like, hey, you've lost the weight, great, now do this, right? When you lose weight and you reach your weight loss goal, like I've done like probably 10, 20 times, right? I've lost the same 20 pounds 20 times. Every time I lost it and got to my weight loss goal, I was like, woohoo! And I would reward myself and I would go eat McDonald's and French fries and all these foods that I wasn't allowed to eat on the diet that got me the weight loss. And that's the problem. The diet that got me the weight loss didn't tell me how to keep the weight off, because it just told me how to lose it, which wasn't a sustainable way for me to continue eating once I lost it, right? Because I felt so deprived and I wanted to enjoy happy hour with my friends, and you're not allowed to drink alcohol or do anything like carbohydrates or fried on these diets. So the moment I lost the weight, it was like a free for all. And then I started gaining the weight back. And in that moment, you're like, you see yourself gaining that weight back and you think, ugh, I do not want to go back to keto or paleo or whatever diet and cut out foods I love again. It doesn't feel worth it that second time around usually. And then you fight yourself because you know it's not sustainable. You're like, well, I did it once and I lost the weight. So yeah, it works. But now I'm gaining the weight back. So does it really work? And that's where intuitive eating comes in. So I personally lost weight intuitive eating, and I continue to keep that weight off with intuitive eating. But I've also worked with people who lost their weight through a diet that was extreme, and then instead of just going from the extreme of dieting to the extreme of like going back to eating junk food, they incorporated and learned intuitive eating. So you have lots of options. It's not like you can't do the diet you're doing, but I would recommend incorporating intuitive eating into whatever diet you like, right? So if you love keto or paleo, there's nothing wrong with that. And a lot of these focus on like macronutrients and everything being perfect with numbers. And I would just encourage you to listen to your body over those numbers, right? So it's okay if you go over or under a little bit. You don't have to beat yourself up or feel guilty. You're human. You are not perfect. You're not a robot, right? And so you're going to mess up, make mistakes. You're going to forget to listen to your body. You're going to, forget to be prepared with food, and you're going to leave your house. You're going to get hungry. Things happen. And so it's really about adapting and learning to listen to the body above all else. So that way, no matter what diet you might choose to do or what diet maybe you have to do, because, there are medical issues out there, medical illnesses that make it so you need to do certain diets, right? Like if you have celiac disease, you can't eat gluten. And that can feel really depriving. And it doesn't have to be so depriving. And that's all kind of thought-based, There's plenty of options out there now for people who can't eat gluten. And you don't have to be deprived. It's not like you can't have spreads. They make gluten-free breads, right? And so it's really about that mindset as well. So noticing if the mindset is this all or nothing dieting thinking, or it's more like I'm going to listen to my body and use these dieting rules, not as rules, but as guidelines to help me figure out if what I'm eating is helping me feel energized and lose weight, or if it's causing me to feel sluggish or have like tons of thinking about foods that are off limits, when they're really not off limits and they're abundant in the world, and it's that limitation in our head that we've created around it. So take time today to reflect on the restrictive dieting you may have tried in the past, or maybe are currently doing while you're going through this program because you don't trust intuitive eating yet, and that's okay. And just see how that feels or felt, right, if you're already into intuitive eating, compared to the diets, right? How does intuitive eating and listening to your body feel differently than all the diets you've tried before? That's the intention today, is to really reflect internally, right, on your own, how it feels differently, And for me, like I said, it feels differently because I'm not going to extremes. I'm not eating in cabbage soup for an entire week in the name of weight loss, instant gratification, right? And that's what most diets out there are trying to do. They're trying to get you that instant gratification, because if they get you instant gratification, you're going to say the diet works, they're going to get more people, they're going to make more money. It's not about instant gratification. It's about health. It's about sustainability. It's about being able to do it consistently for life. And that simply comes down to listening to your body more, hunger and fullness, right? And then eating adequately, eating energizing foods, and learning what your body really needs. All right, that is the end of today's lesson on why diets usually don't work, at least sustainably long-term, to keep the weight off. You can definitely lose weight on a diet, but the question is, are you keeping it off, and are you feeling more in control, and do you have a healthy relationship with food? Or are you just going to extremes consistently, fluctuating between losing the same 20 pounds like I did like 20 different times? So take time today, reflect on that, journal it, and I will be in there to also journal about my experience more around dieting. I will see you in the next lesson. Have a great day.
Nice. That was beautiful. Thank you, Meg. Definitely very revealing into my own experience as well with dieting, because I love to experiment, and especially when it comes to food. I've gone from keto to paleo to vegan, to whatever. I'm curious. I'm stoked on that cabbage diet. That actually sounds pretty rad. I'm really a big fan of cabbage right now. And one thing that I have noticed and still appreciated with all of these diets is how it has informed me what does work and doesn't work. It just trying something new is just a new way to get more information about my body. And so in that sense, diets have worked for me. That said, I do know that my body is always changing, and that with diets, it is this prescription to do and not do these certain things, and that is very disregarding to what the body might be saying. And so, for me, when it comes to dieting, it's fun to play with, but to hold it so tightly, to be like, this is the way, and not create room for listening to the body, to tuning into what I really need, that doesn't make any sense to me anymore. And you helped me realize that, Meg, through today's session. So thank you. That was very helpful for me to feel encouraged again to still play with diets, but not to hold them so firmly as to being the way. My belly just loosened a little bit and relaxed. All right, diving into this week-long healthy habit we are taking on for ourselves, which is to drink more water. Today we're shooting for 35 ounces of water, which would be this full Nalgene of water. It's just a good grip of water and very manageable if you're taking a sip every hour or so. Nice. Drink more water. Today's wise words for the day come from Beth Gray, who said, "Every time you sit down to eat, you have a chance to love and respect your body." Diving into our journal prompt for the day. If you have your journal handy, go ahead and whip it on out and ask yourself, have you tried any restrictive dieting? And reflecting on that, and reflecting on this intuitive eating journey, if you've been with us for a while, or if it's just your first day and there's things that are already kind of like sparking inside of you, what differences have you noticed between intuitive eating and restrictive dieting? Go ahead and hit pause and give yourself a moment to journal on this. So for me, I've tried a lot of dieting. I've gone from veganism to the carnivore diet and lots of things in between, and mostly just for the sake of curiosity. And I mean, I'm not adhering to any diet today outside of the intuitive eating diet. And so what that shows me is none of them prove to be the one for me. And so I'm seeing, while each diet has informed me a bit more into the things that work and don't work for me, I trust all of this diet experimentation has informed my intuitive decisions today. So I'm very grateful to view diets as just that, as a way to play with food in a way that might inform my body to know more of what it wants and what it doesn't want right now. Not as a specific formula to follow, because that does not allow for natural change to occur and will inevitably negate what the body might be saying. and diving into our micro challenge for the day, which is to write down 3 things that you are grateful for about your body. Whoa. This one gave me goosebumps, just kind of like tuning in and make it's gratitude. Wow. Okay, so 3 things that I just kind of landed on were it's always trying to heal itself, right? It's always trying to find homeostasis if I let it. It is far more intricate and wise than I will ever know. Sure, my brain has an intelligence to it, but my body, there is so much complex knowledge and wisdom and information just swirling around that I just trust. And lastly, it is the medium through which I experience all things. This body, this flesh puppet, that's kind of a crude way to put it, but this is my channel to experience the beauty of the world. And so the more it is online and feeling good, the more my perception of all things are gonna be feeling good. Wow. Body hug. Yeah, nice. And that wraps up today's intentional session on understanding. Thank you, Megan, for taking us through this journey. If you would like to connect with Megan and other people who are going through the intuitive eating journey, there is a link in the description. You can come join us on our private activity feed where we are sharing all the ups and downs of this wondrous journey. And we would be delighted to have you over there. It's quite a fun thing. Tomorrow, our intention is I am loving. So, yeah. I look forward to seeing you then. Until then, I trust that you will trust your body, and I hope that you tune into it a little bit more and feel the gratitude for it. Drink the water, and I will see you tomorrow.